Live streaming now, so welcome if you're just coming on board. And then pick up your block or whatever it is that you have handy in your hand. And all we're going to do is just use this for a little tool to notice how our arms are moving. So if you're holding onto your block, just like turn it so your hand goes the other way. So rotate it so your hand's coming down towards the floor and just have a look at your whole arm and then turn it back up again so your palm goes up to the ceiling. And just do that a few times. Rotate down and rotate up. Now, to move the block so it turns one way or the other, or book or phone or whatever it is that you have, notice that you're moving your hand and from your elbow. All right, let's do that on the other arm. Holding on to whatever you have, turn it down. Right, the movement now, rotating my hand is turning my hand and it's turning my elbow and my forearm down and back up again. All right, now that's great. That's a way of moving, but this is a shoulders focused class. So we want to move our arm from right up here, the top of our arm and the shoulder. So instead of just my hand, I'm going to take my arm out in front. I'm going to just turn a little bit sideways and I'm going to try to move my entire arm and shoulder. I want it coming from here, the movement, and I'm going to rotate the other way. And I'm just out to the side so you can see that. Your arm might be more here. So rotate your entire arm down and rotate back up again. So I call this an internal rotation. It's turning in towards the body. And an external is going out. And you don't really need to know that, but if you're interested, right, one way, backwards and forwards, or forwards and backwards. Notice the kind of sensation, the feeling that you get in your arm and shoulder. Does it move that way? And we'll switch arms, other hand, and you don't even have to be holding on to something. It's just a little bit of a visual tool. Right, we're turning down. Right, so from right up from my shoulder is rotating forwards and backwards, forwards and backwards, and forwards. All right, two more. All right, you can pop your block or your book down for now, and then we'll do the same thing with both arms together. So if you reach your arms out, or they can be down here, thumbs are up to the ceiling. I'm going to turn my entire arm and shoulder. Right, thumbs turn back behind me, and I'm going to rotate them so the thumbs turn forward and down towards the floor. See how you can see the backs of my hands. Turn them up. The entire arm and shoulder is moving back and forward and back and forward, right, and back. And two more. I'm doing this a number of times just so we really get that action. And let's release, give them a little bit of a shrug. All right, I'm going to come up to standing. You could be seated, that would be fine. All right, we're going to do shoulder circles. Let's start them out relatively small. My arms are dangling down. I'm going to lift them up around my ears, push them back so they come together, down towards the floor, and then forward. Now, how big a circle can you make? Can they go right up towards your ears? Can you push them back behind you as they're staying up around your ears? You feel the shoulder blades come towards one another. They keep towards one another as you push them down, and then you draw them forward. They stay forward as you lift them up high as you push them back, and then down. This is a lot of work. If you find as big a motion here as you can through your shoulders, this is hard work. I'm actually getting very warm. Finding as big a shoulder roll as I can. And then we're going to go the other way. Oops, I'm cutting my head off. Around and down and back, up, together and down. I'm going to do that one more time because I don't have to do that too many times. And down. And then I'm going to give them a little bit of a wiggle. I'm going to just let my head drop down. My chin's coming towards my chest. I'm going to let my head hang. I'm going to just sort of roll down a little bit more, just to a point where my head can be hanging. And as I let my head hang, I'm going to let my shoulders and my arms dangle a little bit in space and pause there for a moment. See if you can even give your head a little bit of a nod or a shake. right? And then give your arms a bit of a shake to see that they can actually dangle. They're not doing anything. They're just hanging there. And then come on back up, nice and tall. All right. Now, notice a lot of us kind of are taught to pull our shoulders down and back. I'm going to try to get you not to do that today. Can you let them go and just sort of let them hang a little bit more in front of you today? From there, let's do a little thing for our neck. It's called the neck roll or a head roll. I'm just kind of come in closer, but you can be standing or sitting, whatever works. Drop your chin down to your chest again. Can you pull the chin back a little bit so you can get more space in the back of your neck? And then we're going to go one way, taking one ear to a shoulder and then back. Now, if this is not okay for your neck, you're going to do a smaller circle, thinking maybe your nose is just doing a little circle in space. But if you're okay to do a complete head roll, take your head to one side. Right, hopefully you don't have hair that flips in your face like that as you're doing the movement. And that can be, I'm trying to go relatively slow. If you're going faster, that's okay. If you want to go slower, that's also okay. Right, your neck, your shoulders, they're all connected. Let's go the other way. Back, around. Right, is it easier to turn your head one way than the other? We'll do one more. And then lift your head back up again. How does your neck feel? Right, back to the arms and shoulders. I'm going to do one arm. I'm going to reach it out now. I'm going to do a circle. My shoulder does quite a big circle, right? This is fine for me. I'm going to get further away so you can see my whole arm, right? If this is not okay for you, it might be more a circle here in front. Right? So I want to really stress that you want to make the move that feels okay for your body. Right? So sort of circle it around. And I'm trying not to move my torso at the moment. See, I've got my hand here to keep it still. Right? After a few of these circles, I'm going to let my body move with it. I'm going to go around. How does my body move when I move my arm in that circle? Two more. Okay, let that hang. The other arm. Right, try and keep your body still first. Circle your arm around. And then let your body move with your arm. Let's see how my torso is moving as well. Two more here. Maybe three. And then I'm going to do both arms together. They're going to go forward. So I'm just circling them around the other way. Two more of these. Okay, now back to the little bit of a roll down. Nod your head again, let your arms dangle, and just let your head hang in space, let your arms dangle down. I see this a lot, people are sliding their hands down their legs. Can you just let them hang in space, let them go. Maybe you go a little bit further this time. Take a moment there, give your head a bit of a nod to see if you can let it go, give your arms a little wiggle. And then come on back up to standing, up nice and tall. All right, I'm just coming closer. You can stay where you are. Our shoulders now. I'm going to take our arms directly out in front of us as best you can. Now I'm keeping my arms reaching forward, and I'm going to try to reach out for something in front of me. You see here my shoulder blades are going a bit wide on my back. They're pulling forward. Now my arms stay straight. I'm going to pull them back behind me. My shoulder blades are coming closer together. Right, so I'm reaching forward and then pulling back. Right, forward with my arms, reaching towards my cupboards in front, and I'm pulling my arms back. My arms are staying straight. What we call this here is shoulder protraction. Right, they go wider, and retraction, they come together or towards one another, not together. Forward, and this can be tiring too. Right? So if I'm doing too many of these, stop. I'm going to do 2 more. Right? Forward and back and forward and back. And then the midpoint. Let them go for a moment. Maybe give them a little bit of a shake. And then back to what we did before. Taking your arms out to the side. Both of them are going to rotate forward and then let them rotate back, forward and back. Now one more with both of them together, forward and then back. Now keep one arm turning back, turn the other one forward and then switch and then switch and then switch. Now, maybe you just continue doing this move. If you're okay with it, right now, the one that goes back, you're going to lift that arm up. So it's my left arm is coming up to the ceiling. My right arm is coming down towards the floor. And now I'm going to try to, I'm turning side by side, you can see, bend my arm so my hands come behind me. They're reaching towards each other, but I'm trying not to touch my back. We're going to undo, go the other way, turn one back, one forward, up and down, bend. You know how you try and catch your hand behind your back, but we're trying to do that, but without catching, without touching the back. I'll turn my back to you so you can see from this way around towards one another. All right, so we're finding the movement. Now, if this is not okay, if it's not okay to take your arm overhead, you're just going to take it maybe out to the side or wherever you can. All right, so we're rotating one up, one down. All right, moving our shoulders around this way. Good. All right. What we're trying to do is put our shoulder blades in different positions. Right? Your shoulders are called the shoulder complex area because they move in complex ways. Maybe I'll just do 2 more of these. Remember, you can stop at any time. Right? It's going to be a lot of work through our shoulders. And then rest. Oh, give them a little bit of a shake. Once again, do a little nod, roll down, let your arms dangle. I'm stuck on the floor. Right. Dangle, maybe you're going to go a little bit further. Take a moment there. Maybe even sort of send a breath into the back of the shoulders. It's a really yoga term, isn't it? Send the breath into somewhere in the body. That's a bit of my background coming out there. And then come on back up. All right. Now, you're going to pick up your block or your book or whatever you have, right? Like I said, it can be done even with a phone, something that's going to go in between your hands. So my hands are reaching out flat and I'm pressing into my block. Now I'm going to reach out in front of me and I'm doing what we did before with our shoulders. So I'm going to squeeze the block and reach my arms forward. This is where my shoulder blades go wide again. I'm going to keep squeezing the block and pull my arms back. They stay straight. All right, so it's exactly what we did without holding on to anything. Reach forward and pull back. And reach forward and pull back. And reach forward. So I'm squeezing the block. I'm trying to press into it with my palms. Forward and back. And I'm going to reach and I'm going to squeeze the block. Now I'm going to start to raise my arms. And I'm going to keep squeezing and I'm going to just see what happens. If I keep lifting my arms, and I'll come back to standing so you can see a little bit more of my body. Right, if I do this, if I want to take my arms overhead, can you see how my chest starts to stick out in front of me and I put a little bit of a back bend into it and I can lift my arms up. Oh, I'm cutting out my hands again, right? But there's a back bend that comes into that movement. Right, lower your arms back down again. Maybe you want to release a squeeze for a moment. We'll do that again. All right, I'm cutting off my head. I'm using a different computer today because my other one's gone somewhere else. All right, reach out in front of you. Normally using a camera for this. Now, squeeze again. See if you can lift your arms on up without any of that back bending, right? Without your body changing right positions. As I do this, my arms are now starting to shake, right? They're shaking big time. And notice I can only lift them here. They're not going to come up by my ears anymore. I can't lift them right up here without sort of doing this, with my body. So I'm just trying to lift my arms up without doing a back bend with my back. Oh, shaking, shaking, shaking. Just hold it a little bit. Keep squeezing your block. Keep reaching out through your arms. And then slowly lower your arms back down again. Lower down, lower down. Now that can be super hard work. Put your book to the side. Oh, give them a little shake. And now I'll have a little shoulder stretch. We call this eagle arms. Again, it's taken from yoga. I'm going to take my arms apart. I'm going to bring them towards one another, cross one elbow over the other elbow. Now you might be able to cross again at your wrists and get your palms to sort of touch. You may not, that may not happen. You may have the backs of your hands together. That may not happen. You may need to just give yourself a hug, right? So there's all these options, right? If you can cross your elbows and your wrists, do that. If not, you're doing whatever you can. And now reach your elbows out in front of you. See if you can feel the sense of stretch in your back, and you can keep them still, or you can move them around if you prefer. Right, whatever works for you, and it feels like a nice bit of a stretch for your arms and for your shoulders. Take a moment or two there. Okay, I'm just really kind of pushing mine forward, and I get a good stretch in between my shoulder blades. And then release. That was one way. We want to do them the other way. So remember which arm was on top. Like I said, again, you can hug yourself, or you might be able to cross somehow at your wrists or the backs of your hands together and reach forward. Again, you can move them around. You can pull your arms down a bit. You could lift them up. Right, we'll all feel this differently in our shoulders. So you want to experiment with a position that feels good for you. Okay. And release. Give them a little bit of a shake. And remember, if you have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself or type them in the chat box. I'm just having a quick look. I can't see anything yet. Okay. All right. Now, we're going to come on up and find our wall. So if you're seated and it's okay to come on up to standing, if not, maybe you can position your chair near a wall somewhere. So we're going to do something similar to what we've already done with the block and without the block. We're going to get our hands onto the wall. I've got some solid things underneath my material here. All right. So it's going to be more like a push-up, but first we'll find that straight arm moves first. I'm going to move my feet a little bit further away from the wall, and this is going to be like a little bit awkward. I'm going to keep my arms straight and let my chest sink down a little bit, and then push into the wall. So my shoulder blades go wide. Right, my chest is coming towards the wall, and I'm pushing the wall away, and my shoulder blades go wide. Again, my chest goes back. Right, a couple of those. Now I want to end up in this wider shoulder blade position. From there, I'm going to do a push-up against the wall. I'm going to start to bend my elbows and let my body tilt towards my wall, and then I'm going to press away. Right, so here's a push-up. Right, again, bend my elbows and then push the wall away. Let's do that a few times. You can have a play with how you're doing it. And I'm showing this version here because later we'll be getting down, not that late away, onto our hands and knees and doing this on the floor. And this is going to be an alternative for those of you who are not able or not wanting to get down onto your hands and knees on the floor. I'm going to do two more. Last one. Okay. And then release that for a moment. You might want to give your hands a bit of a shake. And then we'll do another stretch here for our shoulders by putting one hand on the wall. You're going to press away, push your arm into the wall. Now, see, my feet are an arm's distance away. I'm going to press, and I'm going to just turn my body away from the wall into the center of my room. Now, this was really, right, all of our shoulders are different. Some of you will be able to turn away a lot. Some of you might even be able to turn your feet to the center of the room as you turn your body. Right, my arm's staying straight. My hand is about shoulder height. It's a little bit lower. And now I'm giving myself another stretch, but now I'm stretching on the inside of my arm and shoulder. Right, so you can play with this. Maybe just a little bit of a turn away of your body. Maybe your hand needs to be lower. Right? Can you experiment with your own body and where it feels right for you? I keep thinking of all these things I want to share with you. And I'm thinking, oh, we'll do that later. I wonder if we have time. Okay. Okay, that's the one arm. Let's do the other arm. I'll show you from behind. Right, so your hand is pressing into the wall. My feet are about an arm's reach away. I'm pushing into it. And I'm going to start to turn my body towards the center of my room whilst pushing into the wall with my hand. I can keep turning. My shoulders have got quite a bit of movement. I'm able to do this. You're going to turn where your shoulders will allow you to go, your arm and your shoulder. I seem to have a little breeze inside my room here. I don't know where it's coming from. I thought I shut all my windows. Got things moving around. Okay. All right. Let's release from that one. What do they feel like? Do they feel okay? All right. So now we are going to come down onto our hands and knees on our mat, if that's okay. And if not, right, if it's not okay to come down, you can be seated on your chair or you can stay here by the wall and repeat what we've just done. So any way you can get down there if you're coming down onto your hands and knees. First, I always like to do what I call a little bit of wrist prepping. A lot of us have real issues trying to put some of our body weight onto our hands and wrists. And there's only one real way that we can make them stronger is by putting some more body weight onto our hands and wrists. So we're going to spread our fingers out and we're going to just shift our body weight onto our hands and wrists a little bit. It can be a little, you can go forward a lot. You can maybe be right back here with your bottom and put a little bit of weight on, move around a bit. And then take the weight off for a moment. And maybe you change the position that your hands are in. And again, you're just going to come on forward and you want to play with the movement, right? You're putting some body weight onto your hands and wrists as it's okay for you. Now, this can be painful, right? This can be sore. So back it off, take your bottom further back. So there's only a little bit of weight on your hands and wrists. And if it's too much entirely, get right off them. Right, so this is your version here. We were just against the wall. You can do the same thing here. Maybe take your hand back, lean into the wall a little bit so you're putting some pressure there. Or you can also do it in this position with your hands on a chair, leaning back. So it's the same exercise, 3 different options. Maybe turn your hands in one different position one last time. Move around a bit there. Okay, come on off there. If you're okay curling your toes and sitting on your feet, do that. If that's not okay, you can be up here on your knees or whatever works for you. A quick wrist stretch. I'm just coming closer to the camera so you can see. You do not have to come on in. Your elbows bent by your side, palm is up to the ceiling. Let your fingers come down towards the floor. Your other hand will come onto your fingers and you pull your fingers back as you push your palm forward. See how my elbow is bent in by my side? So I'm pushing my palm forward. It's now a wrist stretch. A lot of us are more familiar with this. It's a forearm stretch, but if you bend your elbows, it's more of a wrist stretch. And release that, maybe give it a shake, and then your other hand, right? So your elbows bent in by your side, your palm is forward, and you're pulling your fingers back, pushing your palm forward. Having that wrist stretch here. Oops, I noticed my shoulders up around my ears a little bit. Let them go. Wrist stretch here. All right, maybe give them a little bit of a shake. I like to actually do these two. Intertwine your fingers, and you do like it's like a figure 8 kind of a movement and circling them around. I can't explain this one. I can't even, I can do it one way, right? I think one hand is leading the push there, and now change directions. Can you go the other way? Oh, I'm kind of getting it. I'm surprised. Often that's really hard for me to go the other way. All right, a bit of a shake. All right, so that was an interlude for the wrists. We're going to come on back onto the floor, putting some weight on our hands. And now we're going to do another push-up. So your option would be on the chair or once again on the wall. Remember the push-ups that we were doing on the wall? Let's do the same thing here with a bit more body weight behind us. So we're going to bend our elbows. Come on down and then press back up. See how my hips are still over my knees? So I don't have to take too much body weight, right, on my hands right now. If I don't want to, I can shift my weight further forward onto my fingers and then do the same thing here. 2 and 1. Now I'm not doing too many. I'm going to come on back and just sit back in what we call a child's pose for a moment, letting the weight come off my arms and entirely. And it could be that you're more up here, or just back right off the wall if you're doing that against the wall. And while you're here, remember this internal, external rotation with our arms. We're going to find that here on our hands and knees. So come on back to bringing your hands on the mat. Can you now, with your hands still on the floor, can you rotate your arm bones around? Now, a good indicator here is what we call your elbow pits, the inside of your elbows, right? Can you rotate your arms so your elbow pits, the inside of your elbows, are facing up to the top of your mat? If you're against the wall, your elbow pits will be facing up towards the ceiling, right? Find them that way. Shift the weight as it feels okay on your hands, and then do the push-up again, right, with your elbow pits. They continue to face forward just as best they can. They might not want to face forward. So your elbows point straight back as you bend down and then press back up again, right? So your elbows point back behind you or your elbow pits point forward as you do your push-up. Come on up. Do a few more of these. Forgot to tell you the important point. We want to try and keep our shoulder blades wide, but maybe we'll save that. All right. Push down and up. 5 is probably enough here. It's up to you. You could do 10. Try not to do too many more than 10. All right. So 2 to go. I don't know how many I've done. I can't talk and count at the same time. All right, last one. And then we're going to come on down onto our forearms. Move your knees back a little bit and take a stretch by pushing your hips back and forward. Right, go back, press down through the forearms. Now, if you're standing, that's not going to be an option. You'll be probably scraping your nose on the wall. So you might choose just to do a stretch like this instead. Right, but if you're down here on your mat, you can press back and forward. You might even want to stay pushing back. This is a lot of work. And let's release there. Okay, give your shoulders a little bit of a shake again. Maybe move them around. All right, let's come on back to something that we've already done. Once again, with the block. The block or whatever it has you have at hand. We'll just repeat one more time. Reaching out with your arms with the block. Give it a little bit of a squeeze. And start to raise your arms up. So whether you're sitting, whether you're standing, you can stand, you can sit, whatever works for you. Lift them on up. Hold a little bit here as you're raising up your arms overhead. Keep reaching out with your arms. I notice I'm just bending my elbows there a little bit, and I see this a lot. So try and keep reaching up. And then slowly lower your arms back down again. Right, so I'm squeezing my block as I'm reaching my arms out in front of me. I'm going to do that again. I'm going to squeeze, reach, and start to raise my arms up. Now, your arms might just be in front of you. That's fine. That's perfect. Come on up. Oh, shaking, shaking, shaking through my arms, through my shoulders. Hold a little bit longer. I've got to keep reaching out through my arms because I'm finding that my elbows are starting to bend on me. Right, lower your arms back down. And like I said already, this is a lot of shoulder work in, right? It's not even an hour that we're doing this. So if I'm doing too much, please stop and rest. Right, one more time. And come on back up. Shaking again. Now, maybe you can keep your elbows as they are, right? And then bend. This is just like your push-up that you just did a different way. Right? You bend your elbows, I'll turn side on, and then you straighten them again. Oh, okay. A lot of work. Now, your elbows might want to come out to the side. Don't let them, right? Keep them shoulder width apart as you bend. Right? Again, this is like really hard work through your shoulders. You might be more here. Right? One more time. Bend. And then straighten. And all the way down. All right. Let that go. Have a little bit of a shake around. So much work going on there in your arms. Move around. Okay, let's give you a little interlude. If you're down on the mat, you're going to come on up to standing, right? So that means actually this can be done seated. It would be better, however, standing up if you can. Like I said, if you need to be sitting, that's okay on a seat. And have a little walk around. Just give everything in your arms and shoulders a bit of a rest. Focus on your legs for a moment. We can walk on the spot. Okay, and let's just lift our heels on up and lower them down. I'm trying to take your full awareness away from your shoulders for a moment. Lift on up, heels lift up, and then they lower. All right, give me the tiniest lift and lower. A few more of these. You don't even have to think about your arms and shoulders. Maybe 2 to go. Lift and lower. And last one. Okay, nice. Now we're going to pick up our book or our block, whatever we have, and it's going to come back here and rest on your hands. I'm cutting my head off a little bit so you can see what's going on in my arms. Maybe I'll put my head back in again. Okay, so it's like you're holding onto a tray. And like I said, anything can be in your hand, anything that you have handy, right? You're going to reach out in front. Maybe you can lift your arm up. I'm going to keep moving so you can see. Then you're going to come back, bend your elbow, and you're going to try and turn your arm around and then bring it up behind you. Now, I'll come closer so you can see my hand. Right, I'm going to come on in, turn around, and reach out in front. See how I'm still holding it like a tray? All right, now turn this way so you can see. You'll turn around and then back up behind me. I know I'm cutting off my head. Right, now I've got to get my body out of the way a little bit as I'm doing that move. Hopefully that was close enough. I'm going to go up, back, around. Whoops, I hit myself, and up behind me. Now that's my movement. I could take it right up here. That might not be okay for you. So you're going to find the movement that best works for your arm and shoulder. It might be that you have to do something like this to get around and move and do all sorts of maneuvers with your body. But you're going to do whatever you can to find something maybe resembling this move. Right? The idea here is to get your shoulders moving in lots of different ranges that they can do. Just experiment with it. Right? Notice what feels okay for you. Like I said, rest at any time. If I've done too many repetitions of anything, stop, have a break. I'm going to do 2 more of these on this arm. And here's the thing, when I suggest that we do something with one arm, I never really specify which arm to use. There's a good chance you use your easier arm, right? The one that has most movement. Right? Let's switch hands, use the other arm. So the same thing, it's like a tray. It's going to stay like it. I'm holding a tray. I'm going to lift up, come back. Right now, see this arm, I've got to really move my hips out of the way to get it past me. And this is my less mobile arm. So I want to experiment, and I also cannot lift my arm up behind me as high as I can with my right arm. This is my left. Ooh. So eventually you want to see if you can do this type of a movement without having to move your body too much out of the way. What's going on here? Play around with it. You can reverse it, make more circular actions. I won't go into that now. I'll do it. Whoops, I almost dropped it. And it's okay if you drop it. Last one. Okay. Release. Let's come on back to, I'm just going to pop that down. Good, hold on to it. Remember before we've nodded our heads, we're going to let our arms dangle. And just sort of come into a bit of what I call a roll down. But this one, I'm just focusing on my upper body. I'm going to let my head hang. I'm trying to let my arms dangle. I'll give my head a little bit of a shake or a nod, like I'm nodding yes. And then like I'm nodding no. And I'll just let my arms do some little circles, right? There's this sort of dangling from there. Shoulder blades from there. My armpits are making some circles. Right, and then the other way around. And then I'm going to come on back up again. And now let's do a little stretch. Like I said, I'm just going to come sitting so I get a bit closer. You do not have to. A little stretch for our neck and shoulders. So what we're going to do is just drop one ear towards your shoulder. So your head's tilting to the side. You can keep it like that. That might be a nice stretch. You don't have to go any further. If you want, you could take your hand over your head rather than pull down. Just let your arm weight. Just pull your head down a little bit more. That might be a nice stretch there. Now, also, you could play with where your other arm is. If you reach your arm out, turn your palm up to the ceiling and just sort of have a play around with where your arm goes. Right, there'll be a place there, and I'm looking for mine right now. I have to move my arm around a little bit. That when I have my arm in a certain position, I feel like I'm getting a really nice stretch all the way down the side of my neck. And that position of your other arm will be different for all of us. Right, for me on this side, if my arm is reaching there, where it is right now, I get this lovely sense of stretch all the way down the side of my neck into my arm and shoulder. You might have to find a completely different position for your arm to feel that stretch. So take a few breaths here, holding that position. And then to be nice, get your hand underneath your head and push your head back up again. And then we'll do the other side. All right. So ear to shoulder. Oh, that was a bit strong. Right. Ear to shoulder the other way. Bring your hand to your head. If you like, this is optional. You can just let your head weight give you that stretch. I think apparently we're supposed to be able to get our ear to touch our shoulder. Is that right? I don't know. I think I read that years ago. Never followed it up. All right. So I'm lending a little bit of extra pressure onto my head. You can reach your arm out if you like. This is optional. And I've got my palm turned up. I'm going to move my arm around a little bit. Oh, right there. It didn't take me long to find this side. I'm pushing my hand back a little bit. And that's giving me a really nice sense of stretch. right the way. Oh, this is really strong on this side. Down a little bit more the back of my neck and shoulder. I'm just going to try and breathe as normally as I can. Just hold it a little bit longer. I tend to always do the first side longer than the second. Okay. And then from there, you can get your hand underneath your head to push your head back up again. Remember those neck rolls that we did? We did some circles. Have a little play with that as well again. Oh. It feels a little bit creaky because of that stretch that I just had. And when I look up to the corner of my room, I've got this lovely spider looking down at me. It's only this about that big, sitting right up there. You can't see it. Go the other way. I hope that's the one that's been crawling around my kitchen lately and it's not a friend. All right, around. The spiders that we have in our houses here generally aren't poisonous, not in this part of the country anyway. All right, come on back up. Now, a nice thing for our hands, it's going to go right up into our shoulders. Can you get your hands together and make this little sort of, what is it? Be more like a Y shape. We're looking for more like a flat position. That's another check that we could have done. Now, palms are up towards the ceiling. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my thumbs to touch each other, like palms down to the floor. Keep rotating my hands so I get the back of the hands to touch each other. And then remember earlier, we came down and around. I'm going to try and open them up again. Keep my little fingers touching, my wrists and my hands come back open again. Then turn so my thumbs touch each other. Keep rotating my arms, the back of the hands come to touch. Little fingers touch. They go down, around and open back up again. All right, so it's like a circular motion. Maybe you can show you from the side, backs and around, oh, fingers and open. Nice magic hands, movement around. Have a little play with that. It's a movement of your hands and wrists. It goes all the way up into your shoulders. Okay, 2 more this way. And it doesn't have to be perfect. You're just moving around through your hands and wrists. And now, can we go in reverse? So get your little fingers to touch one another. They go the other way around to the thumbs. Wrists stay touching and open. Little fingers, backs of the hands, thumbs touch each other, and they come around and open. A couple more of those. Yeah, all right, I can see some of that happening quite well. And 1 to go. Around. Now, give them a little bit of a shake. Let's come back to pretty much what we were just doing there. Backs of the hands together. Remember, we started this way, down and around. So we'll try and keep the wrist touching. Can you get all of your fingers to touch each other? Can you let your hands your shoulders come down? Do your forearms get now? Is it perpendicular to the floor? you can correct me in a moment. Right? Is it easier now to hold this position, move them around than when we started the class? Is it harder? Right? What sort of movement do you have? Do your shoulders feel maybe freer? Right. Anyway, give them a shake. Let me know. That is more than enough for your shoulders today. So let me put myself back so we can see each other again. There we go. How did you go? Do you have any comments? Do you feel amazing now through your arms and shoulders, or are you like, oh, what did you do to me? That was awful. Feel free to unmute yourself or type them in the chat box.
I feel a little loosened.
Oh, excellent. All right. Thank you for that. That's good. All righty. Yeah. Go like have a little bit of a book now.
Thank you.
Terrific. Well, thank you for joining me. Do we have any
Thank
other?
Thank you. My shoulders aren't popping anymore, so that's good.
Oh, woo. Fantastic. That's always a good sign, I do believe. Yeah. So fantastic. All right.
Thank you.
Yep. Excellent. Is there anyone else?
Natalie, I have a question. You don't get those spiders that are as big as dinner plates in your taken in area, do you? That hang?
Carol Sue. No, the one I've got that I can see right now is only about that.
Oh, okay. No,
But
I've seen
probably about that big. They would fit in my hand.
I've seen pictures of them. Oh my.
Yeah, these are the ones that come to about this size are called huntsmans, and they I think they don't bite, and they're not poisonous, right? We get other very poisonous spiders here, but not so much where I live. Well, I'm down south and it's a bit colder, so we don't get the really deadly ones. We do get what we call redbacks. They're very deadly, but we tend not to see them too much when you're living in an apartment anyway. But the other ones are quite common.
One other quick question. Does Liz ever take in and give you guys feedback from what we write?
We get feedback. It comes up on, we've got one little dashboard that we log into, and we get some absolutely feedback. And I've got to say that I love you guys because you're all so positive. It's the nicest feedback that I've got for years. So I'd like to thank everybody who's put nice feedback on there. It really does make my day when I see that. So yeah.
No, because I was wondering, because you're taking place in Australia and I'm not taking sure where Liz is, so I don't know how long it takes for the feedback to get to you.
Yeah, we have we have a little portal that we get some feedback that's put in there. Like I said, it's all been really lovely so far. So yeah, so I'm going to go check to see what you've written, Carol Sue. You put something there.
No, right. I was just taking and wondering what, if she did get back to you.
Yeah. We absolutely do get feedback. Yeah, I should have said something earlier, but yes, it's all been really, really lovely. I just need to share my screen again just to finish off here. So here's the lovely Liz that we're talking about, right? So so if you do have any nice things to say or anything actually that you want to say, please email liz@getsetup.io. That's a picture of her there. She does like to write blogs and share our great learning experiences with everybody. And if you're on social media, please share with your friends, right? It's the hashtag GetSetUp or at GetSetUp on your social media posts. So my next class will be tomorrow, and I should know what that is. Oh no, it's my foot class tomorrow. So it's half an hour earlier than this class started. So wherever you are in the world watching it, it starts half an hour earlier than this one did today. And it's all about the feet or your feet. And we use a little ball like a tennis ball or something a lot in that class to try and wake up your feet and get the whole body moving from there, from your feet. We also have a core and stretch class, a supple spine class, and a hips class as well. So 5 classes a week I'm doing right now. So tune into one of those. That would be lovely to see you again. So when you are signing in for a class, we ask that you do recommend classes to a friend. You can share them on Facebook or send an email invite to them. And like Carol Sue was saying, we do ask for your feedback. I'll send you a brief email after class, and you are asked to provide that feedback. It's automatically set to 4 stars, but you're more than welcome to add an extra star on there. Or if you need to, take a star away. But if you do, let us know why. Look, I'm here for you. So I'd love some feedback on what works for you or things that didn't work. And I can tailor my classes around you. I've got a lot of stuff there that I want to share. So, right. So once again, it is more fun with a friend. You can invite your friend when you're booking by clicking on the invite a friend link. You'll see that there on the desktop. We've got some examples, I should say, there, or also on your mobile device. You'll get the little link to share. And if you're loving what's happening here and you have an interest in doing something, you can suggest a new class, or you can also host an interest group yourself. If you think, oh, I really want to share birds of Nicaragua or something or other, or something that's good for you, send us an email and you You might be on the other side of the screen. It's up to you. We also would love it if you could share with any organisation that you're part of. We'd like to get set up in all of our classes and learning out to a wider community. That helps, will help more people find us in the future. You're also more than welcome to request a session recording. So if you like this class and you'd like to do it again, you'd just like to have it at your disposal, maybe to refer to one or two exercises, please just email help@getsetup.io and somebody will send you a copy of the recording. So finally, I want to thank you all so much for joining me today. Just leave it open to any other questions that you might have, but I do need to finish off because I'm looking at the time. But any final comments from anybody?
Thank you so much, Natalie. I really appreciate
you.
you.
All right, excellent. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
And I there's number 2 super fan. No, 1 and 2. Well, equal super fans, Trudy and Carol there. Thanks so much. Have a wonderful
one,
day.
Trudy.
And
You too. Hope to see you again.
Okay, thanks, Trudy. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Bye-bye, Natalie. Thank
Bye.
you.